Hello, welcome to the Classical Panoplies channel. This is the first of a series of 6 videos where I am going to talk about the accuracy of the Roman soldiers of the movie Gladiator from the year 2000. Today, I am going to talk about the accuracy of the main character of the movie, Maximus Decimus Meridius, being played by Russell Crowe. Let's start. As you can see, Maximus Decimus Meridius was supposed to be the Dux Exercitus. This was basically the leader of the army, the one that was above everyone else, except of course the emperor himself, which in this era will have been none other than Marcus Aurelius. As you can see, the movie is taking place in the Marcomannic Wars, which lasted for a total of 15 years. Let's start from head to toe. The helmet that Maximus is using in the main battle of Germania at the beginning is clearly inspired by the Attic helmets that is usually being seen on a lot of reliefs all over the empire for multiple eras. The one that they use in the movie is not particularly accurate. The main reason as to why is because it has a very abrupt and very spiky overall shape in all of its features. Also, you can clearly see that it has this cruciform shape all over the calotte, which is the skull, the main part of the helmet. This is something that you will see in certain type of Roman legionary helmets of the era, but it is not usually seen in this type of helmets. If they wanted to use a helmet of this typology that was indeed accurate, they would have had to use the only found Attic helmet, Attic Roman helmet in particular, that has ever been found, which is the helmet from Ponte Sisto, which is a bridge in Rome itself. As you can clearly see, this is a very good replica of this helmet by Ferran Garreta. As you can clearly see, the helmet would have been way more decorated than what we have in the movie. The one of the movie is clearly just your typical movie prop made of rubber or resin. It does not have the spectacular shine of the metal that an original helmet, especially more of a Dux, would have had. Well, which type of helmet would have had a Dux Exercitus in this era? Well, we do have evidence of how they may have looked in this era. This is the Portonaccio sarcophagus, which dates around the late 2nd century, around the end of the Marcomannic Wars. As you can see, this main figure on the sarcophagus is using very obviously a 3-crested helmet. As you can see in this helmet by Arte Cialone, this is not an original helmet. In fact, it's a made-up helmet, so to speak. It's not based on any helmet at all. The customer orders them to make it, clearly inspired by helmets of this era. But I want to let you know this very clear. This is not a real helmet. The reason I wanted to use this picture is because it shows how spectacular a helmet like this will have looked with the 3 crests. Now, we do have evidence of a 3-crested helmet from this era, which is the helmet from Theilenhofen, which dates to the mid-late 2nd century AD. As you can clearly see, there is a crest on the right side, which with the shape of a lion. On the other side, there is also one barely being seen here, and then of course the main central crest with the eagle. It's rather unknown whether or not this helmet in particular was for officers, because it had the name of 5 different owners on the inside. But overall, I want to show you how spectacular an officer of this era would have looked like with his helmet on. The one of the movie does not make justice whatsoever. They would have been way more flashy. In the movie, Maximus is also using a paludamentum, which is the officer's cloak. This type of cloak was usually dyed in a very bright and expensive color. For example, it is known that in the Republican era, the consuls wore a paludamentum in Tyrian purple, which was the most expensive color back then, 3 times more expensive than gold. Julius Caesar, for example, used another very expensive type of dye, which was crimson red, which is made of small eggs of an insect. And the one of the movie does not have this very bright and flashy color. In fact, it looks like a very dark type of red. I mean, I like it, but it's not what an officer of this power will have worn. Also, the way he's using it with these 2 straps around the shoulders, like it's some sort of backpack, so to speak, it's totally made up. It's not historically accurate whatsoever. The way cloaks were worn, well, both in classical antiquity and pretty much always all over history, is with a fibula or a brooch. In the case of the Romans, or pretty much everyone in the ancient world really, was worn on the right side, on top of the right shoulder, as you can clearly see of this statue of the Roman Emperor Hadrian. It also dates for relatively similar to the Marcomannic Wars. As you can see, these fibulas were extremely spectacular. Sometimes were more simple, but an officer would have had some fibula made of pure gold with really nice detail and tagle on top. I mean, this is just an example. I'm not saying it had to be this one in particular. It's just an example of how beautiful some of them would have been, and obviously very, very expensive. Let's continue with the armor that Maximus is using, which is a lorica musculata, a muscle armor. The one of the movie, it's a very strange example of it. Let's start with the torso, so to speak. The symbols that have been used with this couple of griffins on both sides in a symmetrical manner is clearly based on the statue of Julius Caesar. Well, this one in particular is a copy of an original from the Republican period, but it will have look essentially the same. That being said, as you can clearly see, he also had these symmetrical griffins on both sides. It also has this beautiful floral pattern on the lower part. It's not exactly like the one of the statue. In fact, it looks way cooler, the one of Julius Caesar. But well, it's not necessarily bad, because some statues didn't have that much decoration either. He's also using what it seems to be a wolf on the chest. I don't know exactly why they use this. Maybe because the character in the movie has a dog at the beginning of the movie in the battle, or because they wanted to represent the she-wolf of Rome itself. That being said, I can't say this is accurate at all, because most of the times, if not always, that some sort of decoration appeared on the chest. It was the head of Medusa, Gorgoneion. I'm not going to give it as bad, but it's not something that has ever been found. However, the most strange thing about this armor, the one of the movie, are the shoulder guards. They are segmented. This type of shoulder protection is usually seen on the famous lorica segmentata being used by the standard rank and file legionaries. However, there is what it seems to be an example of a non-lorica segmentata using this type of shoulder guards. It's a relief from Arlon. As you can see, this equus, this cavalryman, it's using what it seems to be probably male, but the shoulders on both sides have this very obvious segmented pattern. This has led to some people to believe that these are segments. Some say that it's just the way the male it's being folded, so to speak, and it was very poorly done, represented here. That being said, Michael Simpkins made a replica of this armor, and it's perfectly functional. So it could have been that some of these combined or mixed armors may have existed. That being said, there is no example whatsoever of a lorica musculata ever being used with this type of shoulder guard. It was usually just one small plate with a ring here, another one on the chest, and then they had a knot to put the two parts together. Let's continue with the subarmalis, which is the inner padded armor, and the quintuculus, which is the sash belt. The subarmalis on the movie, well, at first I had to say that I was surprised, because usually Hollywood or any movie really attach the straps, the terigues as they were called, they just sew it to the armor. That being said, I found this photo here where the mannequin is not using the subarmalis, so this made me think that indeed in the movie the subarmalis it's properly done. As you can clearly see here, it was a padded armor that was worn under any type of armor, really, under muscle armor, under mail, under scale, under segmented armor. Any type of armor needs padding. That being said, the design of the one of the movies is kind of weird. These parts, it has a really strange shape. It should be more circular. You can clearly see here again in the statue of Julius Caesar. This design right here is not usually what you see in the statues. It's usually just these fringes. They look like the one of the movies look like triangles, so to speak, not necessarily accurate. I have never seen anything like this, to be honest. In the movie they had something very strangely rightly done, which is the quintuculus, this sash belt right here. This is a belt that was just decorative. Julius Caesar, for example, is using one right here. Again, the color of it is a little bit dull. It should have been way more flashy. I don't know which material they use. It looks like either velvet or silk. We don't know exactly which material they use for this, but it was probably very high quality linen, or maybe even silk if they had the money to import it. Let's continue with the tunica, or the tunic. It's pretty much the same in English. The one of the movie, it's reddish, so to speak. It's not necessarily grown at all, because for example in this fresco of Romulus from the house of Fabius Ululi Tremulus in Pompeii, he's using this orangish reddish color on under the subarmalis and under his lorica musculata. That being said, the biggest problem of this tunic is that it's not properly sewn on the edges. You know, it has this very bad, very rough shape. An officer of everyone really would have had the tunic in an immaculate state. It would have been properly sewn. People back then knew very well how to do this. This just does not make any justice really to what he would have worn. Let's continue with the brachai, or the long trousers. These are the ones reaching the feet. The one of the movie is using something really strange. All of these straps, you know, all around the legs. This was usually done. It's actually accurate. This was done when the trousers were way too wide instead of being very tight to the leg. As you can clearly see in the tomb of Ares in Alexandria, which dates roughly to the Marcomannic Wars era, he's using these straps around the knee, just below, and then again above the shoes. The one on the movie is not properly done at all. It's just grabbed all around it in a not very well done. So it just looks weird, so to speak. That being said, the overall look of them is not so bad. We'll have some Germanic Barakai from Dammendorf. They could be or could not be from the era of the Marcomannic Wars. The dating is it's almost 200 years. That being said, they would have not evolved that much in between those centuries. We do know, for example, that the Romans did straight up adopt the clothing from the people of the more cooler provinces for winter. So this is something that all of the individuals in the movie Gladiator, all of the Romans who have been worn this type of trouser. The one of the movies, like I said, they look kind of weird, a little bit, how to say it, bad kept, again, very wide. They were probably much more tight. It was the typical Germanic design, having tight trousers. Let's continue with the spada, which is the long sword. I'm surprised that they got this kind of right, because the spada that Maximus is using in a movie is almost a meter long, which is accurate in size. I wanted to let you know that this is not the actual movie prop of the movie. It's a licensed replica by Wineglass. That being said, it looks the same. The reason I didn't want to use the original photos is because the sword of the movie is in a very bad state, really. So this is how it would have looked in the set or in the movie. It's very beautiful, I have to say. It looks the combination of that brass, of that reddish wood and leather with the ivory looks really, really cool. However, we don't have an espada of an officer from this era. The closest it will be the espada from Pompeii, as you can see in this replica by the Army Street Guard. I have to say, however, that Roman swords usually didn't have they didn't decorate the pommel nor the overall hilt of the sword that much. As you can see, they are much more simple. They usually put all of the money and the effort on the scabbard. I have to say that this scabbard for an officer, it's kind of undecorated. It would have been probably entirely covered in gold with a lot of decoration of it. We will have evidence of that, especially on the short sword, on the gladius. Let's continue with the ocrea, which are the grips. The ones of the movie are right and bad at the same time. The overall shape is kind of alright. It's similar to this one from this private collection from the 2nd century. That being said, the decoration has absolutely nothing to do with reality. It has this weird geometrical shapes all over them. This is not accurate. There is not one single example of this anywhere, not even in art. That being said, the most typical grip and the most like design of grip in this period is the one that had kneecaps. They were hinged. They were made of 2 parts, and they had this extra protection on the knee. This is most likely what got an officer of this of this status will have used, if they ever used grips, because grips, believe it or not, were not that popular at all. Let's continue with the perones, which are the long boots. I don't have much to say about them. The overall shape of them, it's kind of alright. Even the colors are very similar to this fresco from the House of the Guetti in Pompeii. My only complaint is the overall look of them. You know, they don't look as refined and as well kept, you know, and as well sewn as these perones by Master Bogdan. As you can see, they have a much more beautiful look to them. These ones look very, very warm. I don't have to say that they are necessarily bad, but for an officer, I really doubt it, to be honest. So, what is the final rating I give to the panoply of Maximus Decimus Meridius? Well, I cannot give it more than a 4 out of 10. I mean, the overall look, when you look at the character in the movie, you obviously know that it's supposed to be Romanesque, so to speak. You know, it's a very distinctive look. However, and that being said, when you analyze the things part for part, you can clearly see that they didn't do their job properly. And it's not because of lack of information, because by the time the movie was released, there was already a lot of evidence on how the Romans look in this era. So, in my opinion, it's just unexcusable. That being said, the movie, as a movie, it's a 10 out of 10. I mean, it's one of my favorite movies ever. And it was actually the first one I ever saw, I ever watched out the ancient world. And since the very first scene, when you see those equites entering in the scene, I fell in love. Some sort of ancestral spirit was awoke in me, and I love it. That being said, I think this is a very just rating for it. That being said, thanks for watching. This is the first part. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next upcoming videos. See you on the next one.